creative input that you would have to make a good ghost story?
Make it good. The one thing I really, again, I was watching The Exorcist just the other day, the original, and I just there's something, it gives me like chills just to even think about it and talk about it, because it's just so simple. There's the one thing that gets me the most are these thrills that are like sort of like jarring. It's like this jarring movie watching experience, and I get it. Like, I understand the intention is to like scare the crap out of you. Like, that is like we are gonna. It's almost like this sort of like testosterone. Like, we are gonna make this is the scariest movie ever, and it's more of like somebody coming up to you and like going behind you and grabbing you and saying boo. It's not really scary. It's like, it's alarming. It's frightening. It's like, it's jarring, and it's not like a pleasant experience. Your heart races. You just, oh my God, and they say, oh yeah, I scared you. It's not really scary. To me, scary is that sort of like, those nightmares you have where you can't wake up and you're trying to call for help and someone is slowly approaching you, and it's like sitting with it in a meaningful way. And I think with The Exorcist, there's a meaning, and same with The Shining and Jacob's Ladder, another great movie that really inspired me at a very formidable age. Those movies have like a sense of substance, and their style. Yes, there is like a, they have a pedigree, and they have a William Friedkin and Stanley Kubrick. I mean, they're some of the finest filmmakers that have worked, but they're also, it's just like this simple. It's story. It's good acting. It's not having these. I don't know. I would say, like, in my humble opinion, I think there should be a return to sort of the almost psychedelic horror. Psychedelic, psychological. The kind of like unsettling, horror that's not just these like, everybody likes to look at good-looking people, so I think that'll never stop with film. But sometimes it throws you off a little bit. Watching The Exorcist, it's like everybody looks like real people. There's characters there. There's not like just like these very polished, I don't know.
Well, no, I'm with you. The idea, it seems like today, is that you have to be attracted. The girls have to be attracted to the boys, and the boys have to be attracted to the girls.
Yeah, gotta draw them. Yeah, both together.
To be able to see.
So everybody can have like an orgy in the movie theater. I don't understand what the point is.
Really, I mean, why they put ghost hunters with girls as big busty girls, doing this. That's not the reality. You look at. I mean, looking at reality as somebody like me, I'm reality. I am what people look like. Yeah. Normal, matter of fact, type of person.
But
they don't want to see something like that. I have recently interviewed somebody who went on an interview for a program, and they said, well, we need you to wear glasses, because she was going to be the only girl. We need you to wear glasses and have your hair up in a ponytail, where she is such an attractive young lady, And she's going, why? Well, we need you to look like the smart, brainy one. You know about ghost hunting, but we need you to be the smart, brainy one. And I'm going, wow, why would you do that? But it's because that's what they want people to see in their programs. And going back to ghost hunters, they used to have Donna. And Donna was an attractive young girl, but she realized that, hey, I'm doing this because I like doing it, but I don't want to do it because it's part of the acting gig and all that kind of stuff. And so she left for a while. And I don't know if that's really the reason or what, but that seems like it kind of fell into place when I was told that was the reason. But it's, making movies and making TV series, it has to be what kind of a audience you can attract. So you have to have nice-looking guys, you have to have nice-looking girls, but it doesn't fit into the realm of what's really going on out there.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's people that are just doing it because they're told to do it, because they're told that these marketing works in such a. I don't know. I'm not pretending to know anything about what goes into all of that. I just know that my opinion as a fan and as someone who watches a lot of movies and TV, sometimes it, of course, is very distracting when someone is too good looking, where it's like, that just doesn't happen necessarily. Of course there's people involved. So, but you know, I don't know, if you look at movies that have really hit the, what do you call it, the zeitgeist of, like the Blair Witch, those are just regular, I mean, say what you will about the movie, but like the people, the actors in it, they're not models, they're just regular looking people. Same with Paranormal Activity, at least the first one. You know, they're just...
And then let's go back to The Shining. Who would have thought to put those two people as the main characters? I mean, they're not a busty woman, they're not an attractive man, they're just, you know, they tried to make them look normal, you know. And I think that that helped a lot to make that movie great, because Jack Nicholson, not only he's just scary just to be around, I'm sure, you know, but you look at him and there's always, you know, this sneaky little demon in there, You
No
know,
makeup required, I guess, with that guy. But
you know, and it's
yeah.
just such a great movie though. Like you said, it's so real, it's so down to earth, it's so normal, you know, and you could see somebody getting sucked into this house, this, you know, building this thing and getting, you know,
Yeah, the
put
madness is what's scary. And then, you know, I think, you know, mental illness is an issue that's pretty close to me. And you know, I've had, not bouts of it personally necessarily, but I've, you know, we've all had those moments where we're like, am I losing my mind? Like you don't like not being able to trust your own thoughts and what you see and hear is a very lonely place.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're out on the moon, like whoa. And I've had like little glimpses of that where I'm like, this is scary. This is real fear. And I think that can be played with in so many different interesting ways that you don't. Just that story, I'm sure the book conveys that too, where it's just like going mad, you know.
And so many movies are like that. The Amityville Horror. You know, you remember that one where he went crazy in the same house and somebody killed, you know, his family or all these people or whatever, you know, same type of thing. He got sucked up into it.
And The Conjuring, that's about
And
that.
The Conjuring is another one,
yeah.
you know, and...
Good old-fashioned throwback movie, I think.
It's just, you know, there's just so much to it, and, you know, you have all of this theory and you have all of this practicality that you've got to combine to try to make the movie good, you know, and that's where the people that do the creative part of it, you being a producer know that you have to put the, you know, input the creative parts in it with the theory and the practicality to make it a good movie, you know, and then you've got to get the right people for the right parts and stuff like that. And
yeah, and I understand. I get it. Like now that I've done a little bit of producing, I understand how things get to that point where you're like, oh gosh, well, this is the best I can do, and let's just get it done and get it out there, because like it's such a war making movies. I'm sure you know, like with any sort of creative endeavor where you're kind of out on your own trying to make it happen, like the odds are against you. So I it's not like I watch a bad movie and think, oh, what would they think? Like, what idiot? You know, it's more like I understand how hard it is. Like, I can go watch the Shining or the Conjuring, which I thought was a great movie, in the theater, and just in awe. And you're like, oh, it's so simple just to make a straightforward. Like, it didn't have to cost millions of dollars. I mean, it did cost millions, but like, it didn't have to. It's not that difficult. It's just these base fears that we all have. You don't have to like throw a bunch of sex in there.
And then,
Nothing
you know,
against sex, but
I won't go there. But it's just, and we'll take The Conjuring for a moment. You know, just the idea of the girls in the bedroom, and there's somebody behind the door, and one sees it and one doesn't, and that happens a lot. You know, you can put X amount of ghost hunters in a room, and something's going on, and say one recorder will pick it up and one won't, and they're both in the same room. Say, that's happened to me before. Same thing with video cameras. One will capture something, one won't. They're both in the same room. Somebody will hear something, somebody won't. Somebody will see something, somebody won't. All in the same place.
that's because we all have delicate feeds of.
You know, I've tried to come up with really good theories for a long time, and I still can't come up with something that's really sound. I can just say, this is what I know, this is what's happened to me, this is where I've been, you know, this type of thing. But there is no cut and dry when it comes to
Well, there is something to do to like susceptibility, right? Like, don't they? You know, like with The Exorcist, the young girl was sort of maybe an easy target. They say kids are more open to seeing things because they're not as they're not as filtered as
That's
they don't
right.
have as many filters as we adults do, maybe.
That's right.
So, but even though someone might be an adult, maybe their filters are more free or open, or they've experienced something at a certain point in their life that gives them an extra sensory.
A lot of people really work at it. They try really hard to become sensitive, and that's the word I like to use, is sensitive.
Yeah.
Or intuitive.
That's a good word.
Because they want to be part of the fun. And then there's some people that are just naturally sensitive anyway, you know. I don't know, I try not to judge psychics because I've seen so many, every time I walk around or go to a Scream Fest or Horror Fest or convention or something,
Yeah.
everybody's a psychic. So it's really difficult to know who's good and who's
Yes,
not,
I agree.
who's really, you know, in there. But I think that everybody can be sensitive. I think that everybody can be intuitive in their own way. And I know a lot of people really try to work at it. I did an experiment for 2 years where I sat there and you know, consulted with many, many different psychics who all gave me the same answer. I did the experimenting, and interestingly, I became a vegan. You know, things started to happen at my house and stuff like that. It wasn't scary. It was just, oh, okay, well, you know, this really happens, and this is stuff that, you know, like that. So, you know, my family was sitting there going, oh, okay, well, that's what's going on. Well, okay, you know, and they're all right with it, and, you know, life goes on. But it's
Well, it's
just...
not like you were being hurt or in any danger.
No. It's like, you know, this person is more open to stuff, and so we'll go and visit, you know, and you hear humming and lights go off and on, and, you know, lots of footsteps around, and doors closing and opening, and, you know, stuff like that. They're letting you know they're there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing bad ever happened. It was just the things started to happen.
Yeah.
You know, so, yeah, you can do it. Anybody can do it. So, but getting back to you, let's talk about you. How do you see yourself engaging with the paranormal? And by that I mean you've had experiences. Do you think you'll have experiences in the future, or was that a one-time thing, or how do you see that?
Well, like you said, like I try to be careful not to ever force an issue, because to be honest, like I do find myself wanting to see, wanting to believe, and I always want to. I always want to be.
Oh, do you want to wait a minute?
If we could.
Yeah, okay.
Hold on, I'm going to stop over. That water killed us.
And it's hard. Is it a shower or is it?
Somebody's just, they're probably cleaning the room or something.
Oh yeah.
It's okay now. Go ahead.
Okay.
Really? I can hear it.
Yeah, but it's not me. Yeah, it is being picked up.
I heard the same with... Okay, go. So, you have a special message from Michael Joy, who is the writer of
He's the brains
movie
behind the operation.
Dead Afterlife. Go.
Please check out Austin Idol's head shaving opportunities and promo videos for Dead Afterlife. They are extremely hilarious and worth your time. He plays the gatekeeper and is sort of maybe like the mascot of this movie. And he is a personality. I can't wait to meet him and work with him, but I have yet to meet him. But he seems like a personality that will stay with you for a while. So.
And Andy has sent me the trailer, and we'll make sure to put that available to everybody so they can see that. Wonderful.
So he is just another addition to the pie, the casserole, whatever your preference is. But that is yeah.
So, what are you looking forward to in the future? It sounds like you've got a lot of things coming out in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
What else are you working on? What else is coming out?
Well, I sent you the Overly Attached Andy. There was 8 episodes. We aired them all this year in concurrent, like one every week, I believe. Every Tuesday they came out, and that was a lot of fun because the filmmaker Lena Pendarker, I've known her for a decade, and we met in San Francisco on a short film that she was directing, and we moved to Los Angeles. She and her husband, me and my wife, we moved about the same time, about 8 years ago. And she's gone on to teach film at some local colleges, and she also is a filmmaker in her own right. She directed a feature film, which I was in, and so she's at it just like I am, and we stayed in touch, and I always said she would use me for like her classes. You know, she would bring me in to I would do a scene or a monologue, and in terms of like helping students learn how to direct actors and work with actors, and so she would bring me in as sort of like a model actor, like, okay, well, you guys can play with Andy and ask him questions and whatever. So I kept in touch with her, and she approached me about a year ago. She said, I want to do, always do it
Like I
better.
remember 2 minutes ago. Jeez.
Go back
I think
to
you said-
talking about being brought into class. I think that's
Oh, okay, okay.
one, two.
Let me stop a second. Are you okay? Okay, let me just stop you 1 second.
Mhm.
Do me a favor and tell me, because I'm going to re-edit this.
Sure.
Do me a favor and tell me about Overly Attached Andy. You said that it's a web series.
Yes,
Tell me about that first, and then let's go back to talking about Lena.
sure. Overly Attached Andy is a chronicle of a guy very much like me, played by me, whose name also happens to be Andy. Basically, the director pitched me this sort of idea of what if, because I've been married for 10 wonderful years. No, really, I mean that. It's been one. I mean, I've been.
It's not like there's a smirk there.
It's a smile. No. I have not been single for quite some time, and it's wonderful. But I have a lot of single friends, and I think the idea of dating, no matter how old you are or where you live, it just, I don't know. I do not for a second underestimate how difficult it can be. The story of Overly Attached Andy is about a guy played by me who is recently single and is an earnest, honest, nice guy. Kind of basically, Linus, the director, said, imagine you as a kind of wannabe hipster and single. So I don't consider myself to be a hipster, but I wear this like pork pie hat and big, nerdy glasses. I guess it's part of my little fashion. She wanted me to wear it. No, I play a guy who is attached to my ex-girlfriend, but still trying to get out there and date. And I just have these sort of misadventures. Really, it's like comic misadventures of a single guy in his 30s trying to meet women. And
Get back in there.
it's probably pretty close to what not the detail. The details might be a little different, but when I was single, I wasn't a good single guy. I'm not smooth. I'm not smooth. I'm not a grease the wheels kind of guy. I'm not. I'll say things that are awkward and honest, and they don't really fly well when you're trying to impress a woman. So unless a girl, luckily my wife I met on a blind date, and I was just, you know what, I'm going to be myself, and if she likes it, great, and if she doesn't, oh well, whatever. So I just happened to be in that kind of mood that night. Usually I'm a little more concerned about, so yeah, it's just about dating, it's about love life, and how we put on personas or don't, and what the ramifications are of that. It was so much fun to shoot. We shot it quick. Sometimes we'd shoot multiple episodes in one day. Lena always had these great great ideas of things for me to get into, and I met a girl who's, well, I sent you the link of you can watch all 8 in probably half an hour.
I thought they were great. Some of the things, and then I was looking at the comments, so they were thinking the same things too, like the one that had the worms in it, the very first one that you actually sent me the
Fertility.
Sort of, and I'm kind of looking at 2 worms. I'm going, okay, well, that's what he wants to be, nice and intertwined, and that's how I looked at it.
Yeah.
But everybody was kind of going, what's with the worms, But
It's artsy.
and it's things to keep you guessing, it's things to make it fun and lighten it up, but it's really comical. I wasn't expecting that out of you after watching the teaser trailer for Dead Afterlife.
That's
and
just
then the
it.
Divine Order, I'm going, this guy's, in a massive peril, but then does some comedic things, wow.
Well, I guess comedy. I love doing it so much, and there's elements of it that come so easily, and I don't. It just feels really good and right to do, and I have a sense that that's what I'll continue to do. Whether I'm lucky enough to do a sitcom, or some sort of television is always everybody's, clamoring to get on TV just
Sure.
because of the stability and the, there's so much good material out there. So that's obviously a goal of mine. But horror films and ghost stories, like that's sort of like this deep down passion where secretly I would be happy doing it for the rest of my life. Like every movie would be a horror movie.
Scream King.
Yeah, but that's just probably not reality, and it probably wouldn't be wise to do that. But it's my secret kind of fantasy of doing something like that. But I guess that's kind of what I'll probably bounce back and forth doing. Light comedy and dark horror.
Well, that's cut and dry. Black and white.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So, what is in the future for you? What are you looking to do? Do you have projects that you can talk about?
I can, yes. In fact, I just played. People always would tell me for horror films, like you don't have a horror film look.
Okay.
You don't look like a villain, but maybe you could play like the nice guy that nobody suspects that's really a serial killer. Like a Dexter or something like that. I said, well, that would be nice, sure. But I just filmed a TV show a couple weeks ago. It's a show called Blood Relatives, and it's on, I think, the Discovery Channel.
Okay.
And this show is amazing. The way, it's a true crime sort of reenactment show. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of those out there these days. And usually you film them and you're like, okay, well that was kind of good, a professional acting job. I've done a lot of them. And, they pay, they give you credit. It's work, I'll take it. But this show, they spend so much time and energy to give it this look that you don't usually see on TV. It's like a look that's reserved for like feature films, and it's such a great crew to work with, and production company and the director. It was just a treat. And it's called Blood Relatives because every episode chronicles a family that has a murder happen by the family. So it's like families killing families. It's a family show, But no, it's sort of a dark show that will recreate these things. And this happened back. The episode that I'm in really did happen back in the '80s, early '80s in Ohio, and I play a nice guy that is like sort of the puppy dog of the family, sort of the middle overlooked brother. And in the end, I am responsible for murdering my older brother, who was the head of the family business. I killed him because, well, I wasn't really, I guess, a very stable individual. I didn't actually kill him in cold blood. I hired someone to do it, and I did it in a very haphazard way, which ultimately got me caught and put in jail. But that is something I'm very excited about, because as the director was giving me direction and telling me what this character was all about, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is the kind of guy, the role in this I would say this is more of a genre of like drama, whodunit kind of thing. It's not really horror. There's blood involved, but it's more of just a drama. But this character is like, this is the kind of guy that I can really play, and hopefully will play more of. Not that I'm into murder, but it's just sort of like, the nice guy that looks like a guy next door, all American, sort of an average white dude who's gonna, and those are usually the serial killers, aren't they? Like the Jeffrey Dahmers. They're sort of like, on the surface, you're like, you'd never suspect anything.
Wow. So very similar to the Dexter type character, which everybody loved.
Yeah, he's a guy who everybody loved. You never suspect that he does any of these things.
Amazing. That's great.
So
it's called Blood Relatives.
It's called Blood Relatives, yeah.
Do you know when it's coming out?
In the spring.
In spring?
2014.
So Blood Relatives in the spring on Discovery, you said?
Discovery. I think it's called Investigation Discovery,
Investigation
which is part of, I don't know which is which, but I think Discovery Channel is the parent.
Right, and then they have like 4 or 5 networks underneath them.
There you go.
Right.
That's
so just Investigation Discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know some of the programs that I watch on there. Snapped, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, I also shot this year something called The Unusual Suspects.
The Usual Suspects.
Well, that's the movie. I think The Usual Suspects is the movie, but Unusual Suspects is
There's a program called?
It's a program on investigation discovery called Unusual Suspects, and it's like, again, it's like the people that you wouldn't think committing these crimes that actually happen. So it's sort of like they focus on like how somebody evaded capture for many, many years, and it's because they weren't thought of as the prime focus of the
Technology's a
investigation.
wonderful thing these days, isn't it?
That's always what it is. It's always the technology catches up to what they weren't able to do back in the day when they didn't have this technology, which I don't really know what it is, but it's probably just basic computer stuff.
DNA and stuff, yeah.
DNA stuff,
Sounds
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, so I did one of those.
That's great. And is that coming up or?
That's already aired. I shot that earlier in the year, and then they aired it pretty quick turnaround.
They aired it this year?
This year, yeah.
Is there a name to the episode that people can go back and look?
I play a cop. I play a detective. I play the detective that actually comes around at the end and captures this guy in more present day. The episode is called, I think I only ever had a number of the episode. So.
Okay, well we'll try and look for that and see if we can pull that up somewhere.
Yeah, I have a copy of it. Like I got it on iTunes. You can buy like the easiest thing to do these days when you do a television program is to just buy the episode when it comes out on iTunes because it's like $1.
Yeah, and then you
you
won't lose it if you.
Then you won't lose
DVR
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
DVR. I don't have a DVR, but I've tried to get copies from production companies. And it just usually takes a while, and sometimes they have a policy where they don't give it out. And
yeah, I hate when that happens.
so credits are it's a wonderful thing.
So what else have you got going? Anything more that I can pull from that brain of yours or?
Gosh, I'm an open book. Lost Canyon Road is another.
That's the one you're working on.
That's the slasher film.
And is that like this next year or the year after?
That's probably the year after, just because of next year we'll be focused on getting Divine Order out in the world. I can actually send you some of the posters for Divine Order.
That would be great if you could do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk anything about family, or do you want to just keep that out and let's just talk about you, or how do you feel about that?
I could talk about family. I mean, just the fact that we just adopted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
I mean, some people don't want to talk about that, so.
Oh no! I mean, it's fine.
Okay, so then tell me a little bit about your family. How do they like what you're doing? What's going on? Anything interesting and fun happening?
They are so patient. No, they. I've been acting since high school, so I didn't move to LA right away. I kind of. My parents were like, "Please go to college." So I went to college at Emerson College in Boston, which is a very good creative arts school, small liberal arts school in Boston, and they have a pretty big campus out here. So a lot of people come through Emerson. A lot of comedians went there for some reason. Jay Leno, that kind of stuff. So it has a good pedigree of Dennis Leary, Stephen Wright. The big comedians went there, and so there's this sort of there's a community of Emerson people out here in LA, and it's got a good name. And so, but I went to school. I stayed in Boston for about 5.5 years. And then it took me a while to move to LA. I moved to San Francisco. I, met my wife, stayed there about 7 years. I was still acting. I was working in independent films and doing commercials and stuff like that. But you reach a point where it's like, am I going to do this as a living? And my personal goal growing up was always like, I want to make a living as an actor. It was never like, I want to be John Travolta or Robert De Niro. Well, Robert De Niro was kind of an idol. But, you kind of just think about making a living and providing for your family. Like, it really never went any further than that. Like, that was like my main goal, and that's what I'm trying to do, even to this day. Mm-hmm. My wife is incredibly supportive and understanding, and she wants the same thing. I think my philosophy with acting, especially in LA, has always been like, if I'm not moving backwards, I'm happy. Like, you can't force the issue. You have to have patience. It takes about 10 years to get your career really off the ground and running, and I'm at year 8. So I feel like I'm about where I should be, but you can't rest on your laurels, so you have to always be like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And sometimes there's nothing you really can do. You just have to sort of right place, right time, go with the flow, and live your life, So my wife and I just adopted a baby a couple months ago, and that's been like, of course, very
Life-changing.
wonderful, awesome, time-consuming, all of the above, just all the, you know. And I think I think living a life with your family being the most important thing, not just our immediate like unit. We have a dog and 2 cats as well, but like our extended family, which are all over the country. My brother's in New York City. Suzanne, my wife, her family's in New York as well, and then she has family in San Francisco. My dad lives in Sacramento,
Wow.
which is where I was, kind of my formative years were. So, and then I have another brother in Dallas. So I mean, like, I just think it's a grounding force. Not that other people don't have a family, but I don't know. I think it's just, to me, it's like priorities. You know, like this is fun, and making a living is still the long-term goal, but you know, nothing is more important than family. So
Excellent.
you know, it's
Great.
keeps me, I guess, normal. But you know, a lot of my wife is a social worker, so a lot of our friends are, I mean, I have a lot of industry friends, but we also have just a lot of friends that are just like people. They're friends. They're not. It's not like, ooh, well, are you going to help me get ahead in my career? And you know, it's a fine line, I think, between like meeting people where you're like, this is a good person to know, and you know, legitimately we can work together or try to work together. And like, you know, I don't want to be one of those people that's like always angling for a way to get ahead. Maybe that'll be my demise. I don't know.
It seems like it can be a cutthroat industry, but it doesn't
Sure.
seem like the majority of them, or at least to me, these days, are so cutthroat anymore. It seemed like that was in the past. It's not like that now, or it doesn't seem to me to be that way. It seems
Yeah.
like people nowadays, like you, are very willing to do things like this, like what we're doing right now, to be more open
I'm
and
honored
more,
to do things
you
like
know.
this, yeah.
Oh no, believe me, the honor's mine.
No,
Honestly,
it's mine.
It really, really is.
No, it's mine.
because- I'll fight you for it.
Let's arm ourselves.
I think you'll win. But you know, it's
shirtless.
pull it off. It's, you know, and that's what's so great about this, is that people really want to know people like you. They want to know what makes you tick. They want to see what you're all about, you know, and that's why it's so important for somebody like me to sit there and interview somebody like you, because we can get to the heart of where you are. We can get to the heart of what kind of movies you like to do, but look how versatile you are, not only comedy, but you're doing horror. And then you're, you know, expanding on that, you know, and then you have a side of you that's doing some TV, and it's even a little bit more different.
There's not really much I wouldn't do for acting. I mean, there's lines, of course, but you know, I guess it's one of those things like maybe that keeps me humble, or maybe I was already humble to begin with, and so I fall into it more easily. I guess it's just finding and I think as you just get older in life, like you just sort of, you find out, like, you get more comfortable in who you are and how to ask for things, and how to be, what comfort level you have with being aggressive. It's true what you said, like I've met a lot of actors that I've looked up to where I'm like, they're nice people. They're not like these, maybe the people that handle their careers are the ones that are angling and making all these backdoor deals, and maybe they're the cutthroat ones. I don't know. I mean, I just know that, and my manager's like this too. He just only wants to work with nice people, you know. And I can't say that I've been disappointed with the quality of people in LA. Like, I've met a lot of really nice people, and I guess that's what you end up gravitating towards, just like people you have a good time working with, and everything else is just like a lot of luck and sort of being in the right place at the right time, and just like something like this movie. I mean, Dead Afterlife is just, it didn't really fall into my lap, but it was sort of like years of just letting people know what I want to do and what I'm interested in, and just being like open to doing anything, and being and I think just like having a good time on set and delivering.